Welcome back to Ancient the Architect TV. This is not a continuation for casual listeners. This is a deeper chamber. What you are about to hear is not encouragement, not guidance, and not philosophy for comfort. It is a structural transmission. In the previous work, we established how inner governance forms and how courage emerges when the soul becomes unified. Now we move into what makes that unification possible at all. Because no soul fragments without reason, and no truth is ever lost accidentally. Truth is taken, captured, bent, used by forces that were never meant to rule it. This episode is about how that happens, and how it is reversed, not through belief, not through positivity, not through emotional resolve, but through a precise internal mechanism that ancient metaphysics encoded as ransom. Ransom is not punishment. It is not suffering. It is not appeasement. It is the cost of returning truth to its rightful place inside the soul. If you are listening for inspiration, this is not for you. If you are listening to understand why insight collapses under pressure, why knowledge fails without structure, and why truth must be recovered, not discovered, then continue. Ransom. The recovery of truth from captivity. Every metaphysical system that survives across civilizations encodes one central drama, not good versus evil, not gods versus men, but truth versus capture. Truth is never destroyed. It is taken. And when truth is taken, it does not disappear. It becomes distorted, refracted, weaponized by lower forces that were never meant to govern it. This is the condition called captivity. Captivity does not mean ignorance. It means misplacement. Truth placed in the wrong level becomes poison. This is why the most dangerous individuals are not liars. They are those who feel something real, touch something higher, and then allow it to be commandeered by appetite, ambition, fear, or illusion. Ransom exists because truth cannot free itself once it is captured by the lower field. The lower field has leverage. It has urgency. It has sensation. It has emotional intensity. It has immediacy. And immediacy is always persuasive to an ungoverned system. This is why truth, when first encountered, rarely liberates. It destabilizes. The soul feels an impulse towards something higher, but lacks the internal structure to hold it. So truth is pulled downward, converted into belief, converted into identity, converted into possession, converted into justification. This is the beginning of spiritual inversion. The higher becomes fuel for the lower, and the system begins to suffer, not because truth is absent, but because truth is trapped. Ancient metaphysics does not describe this as failure. It describes it as inevitability, because experience must first show the soul what happens when desire governs insight. Only then does the necessity of ransom become clear. Ransom is not payment to an external authority. Ransom is the cost required to move truth back to its proper level, and that cost is always internal. It is paid in relinquishment, the relinquishment of false sovereignty. The lower mind believes it owns what it has felt. It believes insight belongs to it, that love belongs to it, that vision belongs to it. But insight does not belong to appetite. Love does not belong to possession. Vision does not belong to fear. So the lower mind resists ransom. It argues. It rationalizes. It delays. It prefers contamination over surrender. This is why pressure intensifies. Inner disturbance grows. The system becomes noisy. Lower impulses multiply. The psyche enters a state of unrest that no amount of distraction can soothe. This unrest is not punishment. It is leverage. The higher order applies pressure not to coerce obedience, but to reveal incompatibility. When the soul finally recognizes that it cannot keep truth and govern wrongly at the same time, ransom becomes possible. Ransom requires an intermediary. Truth cannot be extracted directly by force. Force belongs to the lower field. Truth must be recovered through recollection and consent. This is where inner memory awakens, not memory of events, but memory of origin. The soul remembers that truth was never meant to be ruled by appetite. That insight was never meant to justify desire. That love was never meant to enslave. And in that remembrance, the spiritual intelligence reasserts itself, not as domination, as orientation. This reorientation is costly, because the lower self must surrender its claim, not its existence, its authority. It must release the intuition it captured, release the insight it bent, release the love it distorted. This is the ransom, and the currency is not suffering. The currency is ethical realignment. The lower self offers upward the results of its actions, not excuses, not stories, not reinterpretations. Results, consequences, truth, stripped of narrative. This is why sacrifice appears in every genuine metaphysical system, not as appeasement, but as conversion. Lower qualities are not destroyed. They are refined. Their energy is redirected. Their momentum is given purpose. And when this offering is sincere, not theatrical, something irreversible occurs. The intuition of truth is released, but it does not return as before. It returns changed. It no longer dazzles. It no longer intoxicates. It no longer seduces. It stabilizes. Truth, once ransomed, does not excite the lower mind. It organizes it. This is one of the deepest laws of metaphysics. Before ransom, truth produces intensity. After ransom, truth produces order. This is how you know whether truth has been liberated or is still captive. If truth makes you restless, argumentative, inflated, or urgent, it is still held by the lower field. If truth makes you clear, grounded, quiet, and decisive, it has been restored to its proper level. This restoration is not gentle. When truth ascends, illusion collapses. And illusion does not dissolve politely. It fights. The lower system experiences this as loss, as humiliation, as injustice, as betrayal. But this is because illusion equated itself with identity. And when illusion is displaced, the ego feels threatened. This is where many retreat. They prefer captivity over correction. They prefer distortion over dissolution. But those who endure this phase cross a threshold. The system reorganizes. The spiritual intelligence no longer competes with desire. It governs it. The mind no longer fabricates meaning. It receives illumination. Emotion no longer hijacks action. It fuels alignment. At this point, the soul regains usability. It can be directed without fracture. This is the completion of the Odyssean cycle. Not escape from the world, but mastery of the inner hierarchy. Courage emerges here, not as a reaction, but as a condition. A condition where the human being no longer leaks through contradiction, where inner forces no longer sabotage one another, where truth is no longer misused, where desire is no longer blind, where will executes without distortion. This is the state ancient metaphysics encoded as the return of truth from captivity, the return of order to the soul, the return of the human being to operability. This is ransom fulfilled. And when ransom is fulfilled, coherence is not pursued. It is inevitable. Let us close. This has been Ancient the Architect TV, not a lesson, a restoration. If you are ready to engage this level of inner architecture, the book, The Ultramagnetic Personality, is available at healthisluxury.org. Not to teach you what to think, but to reorganize how you function, remain aligned,